the members of the portfolio committee, colleagues, your meeting. So this is your agenda that I'm driving. In the meeting, let me check if we do have apologies. Brian, do you have apologies?
Yes, we do, Chair. The first apology, Chair, is from Minister. She is in Cabinet. She will be joining the meeting later when Cabinet adjourns. We also have an apology from Ms. Ntembo, who will be joining the meeting later. Mr. Mafanya was unable to attend due to ill health. Also, General Olomisa was also unable to attend. Those are all the apologies, Chair.
Okay.
Chairperson, I've received a request from Honorable Marieke Shelembe. He also doesn't feel well this morning, and he is running apparently between two seats. And he might be joining us later, but that depends on his situation. Thank you.
No, that's fine. Colleagues, can you accept those apologies?
Yeah, accepted, Chair, except Shelembe must tell us what did he eat.
Last night.
Thank you. I support.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, colleagues. The agenda is. I mean, the apologies are accepted. Let's look at the items on the agenda. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Besides the apologies and the first item, opening and welcome. Let me say 3, 4, 5, 6 besides the preliminaries. So this is where we stand. Is there any comment?
My hand is up, Chair.
Oh, yes. You know, for some reason, there is the system. Yes, Mr. Mutle?
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and good morning to honorable members on the platform and officials that are present. Chair, the agenda as it looks, it's okay, except that I've got a challenge with item 5. I've seen the presentation that have been sent to us. It does not necessarily provide us with the progress report different from what has been reported previously on filling of vacancies. I want to propose that we defer that because it's the same thing that we have received before, and request that the department must come back with a detailed presentation which has got reasonable time frames as to when they will conclude the process. Otherwise, they will present the same report and we'll call them again after 3 months. They will present the same thing without movement, because those vacancies remains vacant for over a number of years now. And you can't advertise a post and take forever. By the time you decide to focus on it, probably those who have applied have already went and got opportunities because they don't wait for the department. But the manner in which they are attending to it and the report, I don't think it's going to give us anything substantive. Hence, I'm requesting that we request the department to go and work on their presentation and give us something comprehensive, including the Audit Committee and Internal Audit. The department must provide a comprehensive plan on how to address their challenges in terms of addressing those challenges around audit committee and internal audit. And that should also have a reasonable time frame, and they should be able to report progress, not what they have prepared, which does not reflect any progress at all from our last engagement with them. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. The Honorable Mutle is proposing that we ask for a plan to address the challenges with a clear timeframes. When are they going to be resolved? That's the proposal. Ms. Lehwase?
Yes, Chair. I would like to second the proposal by Honorable Mutle. It would only be fair for us to be given the time frames. And also on the issue of the advertisement, I think on the advert, I think it is proper that the department goes back.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me hear what the Deputy Minister, I have not welcomed him, has to say to this reasonable request. DM.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. It is indeed on our side disappointing that the department is unable to present a report that is indicating progress in the work that is on the agenda of the committee today. The observations by members is correct, and I think it is the right thing for the department to be put on terms the way Honorable Mutle is suggesting, and I would agree that we proceed that way. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Is it possible to get this plan that Mr. Mutle is talking about with clear timeframes? When are these issues going to be addressed within 2 weeks in writing? So that by the time we schedule the matter, at least we hold you to account, we call you to account on the progress in terms of the plan that you had penned. 2 weeks, is it enough? When are those issues, these matters going to be resolved?
Chairperson, if I may.
Mr. Mare?
Yes, sorry, I was just kicked off again. I want to support Honorable Mutle. Remember, it was not long ago, was it last week, the previous week, that we also sent them back with regards to work that was not properly done. You know, they have had so much time to prepare these documents and presentations for us. We must not ask them whether 2 weeks is enough. We must tell them 2 weeks is more than enough, because it should have been done already. And if they must work in the night, then it's up to them. They must just produce the information that we require. It's just unacceptable that we must, on a constant basis, have unhappiness because the Department of Military Veterans is not doing their work. So I would say you tell them 2 weeks. That's it. Thank you.
So it's the plan we're looking for. It's a plan indicating when the vacancies, you know, the funded post, vacant funded post in the administration, in the Internal Audit Division, as well the Audit Committee are going to be filled. So that plan, it's required to be submitted to the Secretary of the Committee within 2 days from today. So I'm sure we can leave it at that insofar as this issue is concerned, and then we'll then schedule the item early in the new year. So so we'll leave it at that for now, and then go deal with the first. I go back to item number 3.
Yeah.
So
maybe Chair,
yes,
as you conclude, I think it's important that we also indicate that it will be important as and when we schedule that meeting for the minister to be present, because some of these vacancies fall squarely within her responsibility or a delegated responsibility. Therefore, she needs to be present and take accountability.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And the DM is taking note of this, and it will be minuted accordingly. All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Muhle. Let's go back to item number 3, and welcome the presentation by the. I will ask the DM to make his comments, and then invite whoever is in the meeting to do the presentation to present.
Chairperson and honorable members, thank you very much once again. The progress report of the Presidential Task Team will be shared just now by the DG of the Department of Military Veterans. Suffice to say that, excuse me, suffice to say that the Presidential Task Team is executing its assignment on 2 legs. The first being through the work of the work streams that were established, as we indicated the last time, and also again through interactions with the community of military veterans by undertaking visits to the province. Those are the 2 areas through which the mission of the Presidential Task Team is being realized. The report will be shared by the DG, and I will come in after Chairperson and honorable members to just share my observations around this report. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you very much, DG. Irene Polweni, I'm inviting you to take us through the presentation.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning to Minister in absentia. Good morning to Deputy Minister. Good morning, Chair. Good morning to the members, and good morning to the colleagues from DMV. I'm here to present to the Portfolio Committee of Defence and Military Veterans the progress report in relation to the PTT work. The presentation has been flighted on the screen.
Yes, you can see it.
Oh, thank you very much, Chair. On page 3, the work streams that we are going to be talking to are the 7 work streams that have been identified to provide support to the department on the various aspects. The first work stream that I'll be talking to, it is the legislative review work stream. Its purpose was to implement plans aimed at addressing the policy and the legislative issues raised by the military veterans. Progress to date, the ministerial inputs into the proposed amendments were sourced by the department in November 2021. The technical advice sought from the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development and the Government Advisory Center due to the lack of legal personnel in the department since April 2022 to date was that the department must develop a policy consensus document, and the issues raised and presented to the military veterans, and they must be presented to the Ministry for guidance and approval. The policy consensus document was submitted to the Ministry in October 2022, but yet to be presented to the Ministry for their guidance and concurrence. The policy consensus document was also presented to the Advisory Council in October 2022. The Ministry will set up a task team with relevant expertise to take this matter forward, and they've also will ensure that we have the necessary capacity in terms of the legal support and extra capacity from other sections. The bill will be submitted to Cabinet as soon as the task team has advised to initiate the formal processes of inviting public comments. From there, the process forwarding the bill to Parliament can begin in earnest. When we met, Chairperson, the GTEC members, they also advised us that the process is quite a lengthy one, and we shouldn't be kind of like ambitious, because we need to follow all the steps so that when we get to the Cabinet level, we are not turned away. So we've also taken note of that, Chairperson. Within the organizational redesign workstream, indeed, the Ministry engaged the department on this workstream. The Ministry also felt that the chairperson of the workstream must be somebody with expertise, and also from the DPSA and National Treasury, that they must come into the team in order to ensure that there's objectivity. It mustn't be led by the DMV personnel. And also, we had sought some advice from GTEC, and we submitted our final updated service delivery model as they requested it from us, and the costing model. And we are still working with them in ensuring that we don't leave the workstream unattended, while the Ministry has committed to provide some support to the department. The department consulted the Ministry, of course, on the 1st of November 2022, and further guidance was given on the organizational design and how we should look at the department's competence and also the department's mandate. The Minister will set up a task team with the relevant skills and capabilities from within the Ministry as well to take the process forward, together with the process of consulting DPSA and National Treasury. Indeed, the Ministry made some commitments that they will provide us with the necessary capacity and the skills also from the DOD and from other institutions as well. The socio-economic workstream was also the workstream that was discussed within the Ministry, and of course, an update was given to the PTT. Within the socio-economic workstream, the discussion was around the performance of this workstream, which was really not as satisfactory as it was expected. And also this workstream, it carries the mandate of the department. Most of the benefits are sitting in this workstream. The Ministry felt that we need to ensure that we dissect this workstream and focus directly on the benefits, pension, education, health, housing, amongst others. And it was acknowledged that there is a challenge in the coordination of this workstream due to the complex nature and size. And therefore, it was also proposed that the workstream, the education sector that has been dissected, for an example, should have a chair that is an expert in the field, and health also should have a chair that is also an expert in the field. And therefore, the department, after careful advice from the Ministry, will have to make a submission to the Office of the Deputy President, where the workstream chairs are appointed after we've received the recommendations from the Ministry. Of course, the attempts are therefore underway to reconfigure the structure of this workstream. Furthermore, the role of the other spheres of government were also mentioned, and they must be their roles must be clearly clarified, and including within the framework of the intergovernmental relations framework. There was a feeling that we have left out the three spheres of government, and from the inputs of the Ministry, they requested us to see how we can be able to work together under the intergovernmental relations framework. The protocol agreement to be signed with provinces will also include the role of the three spheres of government. That was the advice that we received from the Ministry within this socio-economic support workstream. Of course, the pension is a separate presentation. I wouldn't go much into it. The The other work stream that was established is the database verification, cleansing, and enhancement work stream. The purpose of this work stream was to develop a project plan for an accelerated completion of the verification process. The verification process was halted for some time at the Limpopo visit due to internal departmental challenges and contractual matters that were related to logistics. The verification and database work stream was supposed to be addressing the military veterans in the Northwest, and all these matters now have been resolved. And the chairperson of this work stream, Major General Mashwale, has since accepted that there was also a reconfiguration of the structure there. He's accepted the contract, and the outstanding amounts that were not paid to the observers were also settled and paid. The other members are also reinstalled as per the instruction by the minister within the National Treasury regulations. Therefore, we are expecting the work stream to start its work in the following week. Heritage and memorialization work stream. The purpose of this work stream is to facilitate collaborative research of best practices with relevant countries around matters of heritage, memorialization of the liberation veterans. The progress to date of this work stream, a national policy on the repatriation of human remains and heritage objects was adopted by cabinets on the 16th of March 2021. The Repatriation and Restitution Office is being established at the South African Heritage Resources Agency to implement the policy. Sarah has appointed a manager in respect of this task, and the manager has commenced the duties on the 1st of November 2022. A Repatriation and Restitution Advisory Committee has been appointed by the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture to develop the criteria, monitor its implementation, and advise on ethical matters related to the restitution and repatriation of human remains. A second meeting of the Advisory Committee on the National Policy on the Repatriation of Human Remains and Heritage Objects was held on the 10th of May 2022, where the committee resolved that a workshop to determine the most impactful but less costly repatriation model and implementation plan to be developed. The requested workshop to determine the most impactful but less costly repatriation model and implementation plan took place on the 4th to 5th August 2022 at the venue called Freedom Park in Pretoria. The government of Botswana also has approved South Africa's proposal to construct the two monuments in November 2019. However, the planned site clearance and initial joint planning activities between South Africa and Botswana were postponed due to COVID-19. At the Bi-National Commission between South Africa and Botswana, hosted in Pretoria from 19 to 22 April 2022, South Africa, and of course represented by DESRAC, reaffirmed its commitment to construct two monuments in Botswana. The Bi-National Commission made the following resolutions. South Africa to conduct a visit of site clearance processes of the two sites where the monuments will be constructed in Lubasi and Gaborone, respectively. The two countries should finalize the MOU for the implementation of the construction of the monuments and provide an update by the midterm review in November 2022. Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture led a multi-stakeholder technical visit to Botswana on the 16th June 2022 to meet with the Minister of Environment, Minerals, Resources, Conservation, Tourism, and other relevant stakeholders. Subsequently, the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture led a multi-stakeholder technical visit to Botswana. Oh, this is a repetition. To meet the Minister of Environment, and I think I've already alluded to that fact. Although one of the outcomes of the visit was the hosting of the memorial lecture to mark the 60th anniversary of the Lubasi conference, that was scheduled in October 2022. The memorial lecture was postponed till further notice. The work on the SADC outreach program for human remains and exhumations and repatriation. The planned technical visit to Angola in Q2 of the current financial year did not happen due to the national election and the passing of the former president of Angola. A virtual planning meeting was hosted between the two countries on the 1st of September 2022. The meeting resolved that Angola should communicate suitable days for the technical visit. Handover of the bust of Dr. Agostinho Neto to Freedom Park. The year 2022 marks the centenary of Dr. Agostinho Neto, the first president of the Republic of Angola. As part of paying tribute to honoring the father of the nation of Angola, will hand over his bust to Freedom Park. The handover ceremony is scheduled to take place on the 13th November 2022 at the Freedom Park. The name of the president, José Eduardo dos Santos, has been approved to be inscribed on the wall of remembrance at the Freedom Park. Memorialization of fallen heroes identified common areas for collaboration between South Africa and Tanzania, including the proposal for restoring and upgrading of Kongwa and other graves in Tanzania. The Department of Sports, Arts and Culture and Tanzania are planning to host cultural seasons in Tanzania in November 2022, and this visit will also entail a technical site visit. This engagement will further provide a platform for taking forward the planning for safeguarding liberation, heritage sites, graves, and negotiations for possible repatriation of human remains in Tanzania. The Department of Military Veterans and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture must conduct a feasibility study on the development of norms and standards that will assist in commemorating and memorialization our fallen heroes and heroines to address inconsistencies and the lack of uniformity in design, costs, family support, etc. Military veterans, oh, I'm already on the pension. My apologies, Chairperson. The presentation, the presentation in terms of heritage, it's quite voluminous, and I was already going into the other presentation, and I was going to be challenged in doing that, because currently the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture submitted a voluminous presentation to us for us to be able to cut. But anyway, Chairperson, what has been presented to us by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, furthermore, is one of the important areas around repatriation and the restitution of the human remains of our fallen heroes. They also indicated to us that there were two models. There was an old repatriation model, characteristics of the old repatriation model. It's involved an exclusionary approach, as individuals' repatriations of mainly prominent leaders were undertaken at the time. The old model raises difficult but critical questions around the criteria that was being followed to repatriate cadres from foreign countries. The ad hoc manner of undertaking repatriations contributes to divisions, narratives, and perspectives that some are more important than others. Option one of the repatriation old model, it's extremely costly in terms of the process. It's large numbers of government delegations and family traveling to the affected countries, family members attending the exhumation, average cost of paying for commercial flights, the account of financial resources, human remains repatriation inside coffins result in a smaller number of human remains that can be accommodated per flight. Those are some of the things that have been highlighted in terms of the old repatriation model. The proposed new repatriation model is characterized of the proposed new ways of doing repatriation, country-to-country approach focus entailing an inclusive integrated process which involves exhumation and repatriation of all human remains for which the respective families have requested so and given consent. This approach recognizes the contribution of all the heroes and heroines of the liberation struggle, and will facilitate closure for most families, resulting in a more impactful initiative to be appreciated by many. Systematic and coordinated project planning and implementation led by forensic investigation, archaeologists, and other experts, starting with the development of a comprehensive database of those buried in each country. Consultation with affected families regarding their wish for repatriation. The proposed new repatriation model, characteristics of the proposed new repatriation model continues. Consultation of cemetery records were available, correlate the database with the records and addresses of eminent inconsistencies, identification and mapping of grave sites, preliminary burial site verification, forensic teams conduct exhumations in that country. The remains are separately and individually boxed, wrapped in South African flags, and flown back to South Africa on an SANDF plane. The remains are conclusively identified back in South Africa, either on the basis of the burial records combined with confirmation of biological profile of the remains, which talks to age and sex, or DNA if the burial records or burial circumstances are inadequate. Remains are returned to the families in the provinces and municipalities. The model affords South Africans the value for money, which is impactful and can have closure to the families. This is the proposed, amongst others, repatriation model. The proposed new repatriation model, it continues to say that exorbitant costs of commercial flights and chartered flights carrying human remains of only one individual will not be incurred. It is recommended that the SANDF flight must be utilized and to undertake one trip to a specific country to collect all the human remains at once. Chairperson, the presentation indeed is quite voluminous, and it does talk to the, of course, the 3 legs that must be taken into consideration. And also during the presentation, our Deputy Minister recommended that we look at the implementation of one portion at a time, and we need to focus on the repatriation workshop, where we will be calling military veterans, and we come and present this new model of implementation of the repatriation and exhumation of human remains. And ourselves and DMV and DESRAC have agreed to work together as per the instruction to ensure that that workshop happens between the end of the month and the first week of December. I think, Chairperson, I would like to pause on this presentation.
Okay, no, thank you very much, colleagues. This is the progress report to date from on the work of the PTT. Just check if there are any hands. You see, my only challenge, DG, is that you are not reflecting the date by when each one of these tasks must have been concluded. Let me just cite one example. The review of legislation. There's no end date or delivery date. That is my first concern. Maybe it's something you need to work on. Have the date and then work backward. And then the organizational review, that one too, there's no date. The minister is being consulted. So she was going to set up a task team with relevant skills and capabilities within the ministry to take the process forward. Does that suggest that she would take over from you because you are a technocrat responsible to drive the process? It's not clear to me what you mean by the minister setting up a task team that will then take the process forward. And then lastly, the database verification, that too, it's work that we were briefed about in 2019 as work in progress. So 3 years later, we're still talking about database verification, cleansing, and enhancement. So it looks as though that unless we put our foot down, the issue will remain like this until the end of our term, which will mean that the next administration will inherit an unfinished business. It's critical we finalize the issue of the database because it's at the center of the activities of the department. So I want to leave it at that for now. I recognized Mr. Marais.
Thank you very much, Chair. For the moment, I will just keep my my video not on in terms of the reception. I want to ask DG. I want to ask 3 questions. The one is, you've clearly stated that the Defence Force aircraft will be utilized. Have you consulted the Department of Defence in this regard? Because in terms of how many of these remains must be repatriated, that will depend. And we are all very much aware of the limited availability of aircraft at this stage, even for essential logistical support to our deployed soldiers and paratroopers, etc. So I'm just cautious and concerned that all these things are being said as if it is necessarily possible at that stage. So is it just a preliminary commitment? Is it conditional? Things like that. I just need to know that. Then secondly, I just want to know this progress on the ministerial task team. Is that for all military veterans, or is it only for non-statutories? In other words, is it both for statutory and non-statutory beneficiaries? And then thirdly, when Brian has sent us the presentation on WhatsApp, it shows that the presentation to the study group, Defence and Military Veterans and Joint Standing Committee on Defence. Which study group was that you presented made this presentation to? Because obviously we're not a study group, we're a portfolio committee. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other hand? Okay, so those were the only comments in relation to the first presentation. DG, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. In terms of the comments and dates around the delivery of the bill and the organizational review, I think I've noted the comment, and we will be able to submit the plan. And indeed, we would love to ensure that the plan is delivered accordingly. Issues over the issue whether we have spoken to Defence in relation to the ferrying of the remains of our fallen heroes and heroines. Indeed, Chairperson, this is some of the options that have been raised within the new model. And we're still going to be doing the costing, and we're still going to be working together with DESRAC and the defense to try and understand what are the protocols that we need to follow so that we can be able to utilize the resources with the necessary funding. It's something that is proposed within the new model. Have we, the other question in terms of the support that we're giving, whether it's to statutory forces or non-statutory forces, any benefit that is provided by the department is provided within the Act 18 of 2011, and we follow the guidelines in terms of the Act for us to be able to provide the necessary benefits to our military veterans. From what I was requested to engage on, I think those are the questions, Chairperson. The others was for us for noting so that we can be able to submit the necessary dates and plans and the roadmap. And I think that is all for now. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Okay, so that then concludes the comments section. Let me say comments and questions from the colleagues and the response from the DG.
Chair.
Yes, sir. Is that Mr. Cooper?
Yes, I'm struggling with this gadget. I don't know whether it doesn't want to, takes time to open up. So maybe it's network, I'm not sure.
No, fine. We can hear you now. You may go ahead.
All right. No, I just wanted to, I'm sorry to take you back, Chair, because you were concluding. I just wanted maybe for the DM to take us into confidence, or the DG. The presidential task team, when it was established, with the terms of reference, as a task team, I want to believe that there was a date when it was supposed to start and an end date. What is the end date? By when will the task team conclude its work so that it is able to submit a report to the president? Because it can't continue to be an open-ended task team that we don't know when is it going to conclude its business. Secondly, with regards to those individuals that are tasked or instructed to assist the rolling of the process under socio-economic stream, as indicated there that they are dragging their feet. What actions has the task team taken against those, or what empowers the task team to reprimand them to be able to execute this, because of the agency of the work that needs to be done, and taking into consideration that this is not an open-ended task. It has to be done within a particular time frame and be concluded. And we can't afford to have people dragging their feet in that regard. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think your question was even more relevant now that I was going to ask the DM to give us his concluding remarks. So I would request that he touches on what you have just commented on. DM.
Sorry, Chair. No, thank you for the opportunity once again, and for the inquiries from members, Chair, through you. Chair, I'm going to plead that you just allow me a little bit more time for me to give the oversight committee a fair picture of what is the state of affairs as far as the PTT is concerned. Some of the areas that the DG has touched on, I do want to provide information that will give a more accurate state of affairs. But let me start first with the question, if you'll allow me, Chair, that Honorable Marais raised, which is whether the PTT is attending to the needs of all military veterans. To say that indeed, the Presidential Task Team is dealing with the needs and grievances of military veterans across the board, statutory and non-statutory. And that's what happened right from the beginning. The PTT, led by the Deputy President, met with all military veterans associations, all of them, both from the statutory and non-statutory former members. That is the first point. But the second point that I want to come to is just what has been happening to the Presidential Task Team's work. In relation to the work streams, let me just take the committee through the areas that the DG reported to and point out the following in relation to those areas. Firstly, the legislative review work stream. It's a committee that is expected to deal with the amendment bill of the Military Veterans Act of 2011. That amendment bill, members of parliament will be aware that is work DMV has been busy with long before the Presidential Task Team was established in November 2021. The amendment bill to the Act of the Act on Military Veterans Affairs, it's a bill that was started by the department in the last administration, that is before the 2019 elections. However, that work has not proceeded in a very meaningful way because in this administration, that is from 2019, the department had a legal division for a limited period of time. And that would be before the COVID pandemic constraints set in. When we took over this work as the Presidential Task Team, we were only really monitoring what the department itself was supposed to do because military veterans had said, we are not happy about policy in relation to this and that other area. But then the response of the Presidential Task Team was to say, no, the department is it's driving an amendment bill, which is going to take care of what you are complaining about. So the point that I'm making is that this legislative work is actually residing within the department itself. It's not so much work that depends on what the work stream of the Presidential Task Team is doing or not. Now, in relation to that, the department has not, and the information must be corrected here, the department has not been able to make much progress because its employees within the legal division left the department, those who were there. I think there were about 2 legal officers within the department. And as we speak, the department has been without a legal division for the longest time now. And it is for that reason that this work around the amendment bill is not moving. The last time the amendment bill was dealt with by the ministry, as you will see there, it's November 2021. And in that meeting, it was clear that the next step the department must take us through is to provide what is referred to here as a policy consensus document, meaning a document that contains submissions from all other departments that are affected by these amendments, a document that indicates the submissions of the affected departments to say we all are agreed to the changes that are in the amendments. So that document has not, as you can see, has not been brought back to the ministry. And therefore, it is inaccurate to say that document was shared with the ministry last month. The last time the ministry dealt with these amendments is as far back as November 2021. And the reason is because there's no legal division in the department. The vacancies that we were talking about earlier on, they, in a very debilitating way, they're affecting the department as far as the absence of legal services of the department itself. It is also not accurate to say that the ministry will set up a task team with relevant expertise to take matters forward. It's not the responsibility of the minister. The amendment bills processes its work of the department's management. So there is no task team that is going to be established by the minister. I move down to the organizational redesign, the restructuring of the Department of Military Veterans. Again, to say to members there that the Presidential Task Team work stream was established, yes, because military veterans, as they were engaged by the task team, Presidential Task Team, they raised the point to say the department is failing us. And from our observation, it is failing us because it is not properly, professionally organized the way we expect it to be for us to get proper services. So the Presidential Task Team explained to say the department has been seized with an exercise to restructure and bring the structure of the department in line with the department's mandate, which has not happened for a very long period of time. The department, as honorable members would be aware, is still in the on paper, it's still functioning according to an organogram that was formally adopted, officially adopted in 2011, if not 2012, 2011, 2012. And that organogram of DMV has never been brought up to modernity, if I may use that word, in relation to the evolution of the department. So this work does not depend on the work stream of the Presidential Tactic. It depends on the office of the DG, the management of the department itself, because every department is expected, when it plans to submit the organogram of the department, so that the capacity of the organization can demonstrate that the plans that are tabled are going to be executed by an organization that is fit for purpose. So this is a routine, conventional management responsibility. It is not so much the work of the work stream. Now, in relation to that, again, the DG has not presented an accurate picture to say that by saying that the ministry is going to be involved in providing assistance to get the restructuring of the department to be done. Of course, it is not the responsibility of the ministry. As we speak, even as we do not have a clear picture of what is happening, the department has contracted a management consultancy in order to assist the department to do this restructuring. I'll say it's hearsay, but because we have not received any memo or document that says we have appointed so, and this is what they are doing. But our understanding is that there is something that is happening along those lines, and the DG would be able to share more information around it. Furthermore, down the line in this report, the issue around the socio-economic support. There is now a very genuine grievance as far as the presidential task team is concerned. And the reason is because socio-economic support, the welfare support to these military veterans, the presidential task team was very optimistic that it can unlock this welfare support through the involvement in a structured way of the Department of Military Veterans and the provinces. And the provinces, of course, with their municipalities, to the extent that they would be able to get municipalities involved. Now, critically, we were expecting that the work stream on socio-economic support will be a work stream that deals with housing, education, and health, primarily those three needs of military veterans. Unfortunately, the work stream on socio-economic support there's no evidence of the participation of the provinces in that work stream, let alone evidence of the last time it met that work stream. And it is for that reason that the presidential task team is encumbered from making much progress, because we can only make progress in changing the delivery of welfare to military veterans if the collaboration between the DMV and the provinces happens in a way that minimizes the incapacity of the Department of Military Veterans. Lastly, added to that, the involvement of national line function departments as well in the work streams, which was something that was agreed upon and we were looking forward to. For instance, when we talk a work stream that deals with education, it would not only be a discussion group that involves DMV and the provinces, but the Department of Education, both basic and national and higher education, would be part of that work stream. Similarly, the work stream that deals with health, it would not only be the provinces that are sitting in that team that is thrashing out a modality of delivering health better. We'll also have the Department of Health, the same thing with education. And that has not happened. And that is why there is progress and there is no progress in the work of the presidential task team, because this nucleus of the grievances of military veterans is actually not moving, which is the socio-economic work stream. And as the DG has reported now, we have agreed that that work stream must be broken down to these three key benefits or services, social services that needs to be rolled out. We must have a work stream on education, a work stream on housing, and a work stream on health. And they must involve the provinces and they must involve the national line function departments. Going down, the fourth area is with respect to verification. Just to say, it's a simple and straightforward situation there. Verification ceased to proceed as it has been happening in July for the reasons the DG has shared with the committee, and she has indicated what has been done to those obstacles. The obstacles, as she has said, in relation to the remuneration of the involved people, stakeholders in that verification work stream. Their remuneration issues have now been sorted out. The logistics of getting the work stream back into the provinces, they've been sorted out. The DG can indicate the date on which the verification panel work is going to be commencing. But the presidential task team took a knock. Unfortunately, in this area, its work since July has not been proceeding for those reasons. Now, lastly, I want to speak to heritage and memorialization. The story there, it's simple. What the long account that the DG was providing, it is work as directed in the department around heritage and memorialization, as directed in the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture. It's got nothing to do with the presidential task team response to the complaints of military veterans in relation to this matter, because the complaints of military veterans were very direct. They were more concerned about the repatriation of remains. And as you'd appreciate, the information shared here covers a broad area of work of this Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. In that department, they have heritage dealt with through 3 programs. The first is the Resistance and Liberation Heritage Route Project. That is a national, but even a sub-regional project. And they've come a long way with it. They've done things in Mozambique, they've done things in Botswana. Those things, as you can hear for yourself, they were ongoing before the presidential task team was established. They also do work around memorialization. And of course, they also do repatriation. And in the last meeting of the presidential task team, there was a clear directive that this work stream that we're talking about under the presidential task team should focus on one area of this broad work that is reported about, which is repatriation, and will be given comfort that they will be able to do so, and that there is actually a workshop that is planned to detail the plans around repatriation, the involvement of the provinces, but most importantly, this time around, we will get the Military Veterans Association members themselves participating in that work stream on repatriation, coming from the liberation armies of the broad liberation movement as we know it. This is what I can say is important for the oversight to take note of as far as the presidential task team is concerned in relation to the work streams. The last point is around the other leg of visits to provinces in order to engage and share information with the constituency itself. The presidential task team has been to about 5 provinces now, but over the last month or so, visits to the provinces has not been happening by the presidential task team, and simply because of the pressure in the schedules of the principals that constitute the presidential task team. The chair of the presidential task team last week decided to take a very firm decision that by the 23rd of this month, the presidential task team should be done with all the visits to the provinces. Between now and next week, the visits to the provinces must be concluded, because the chair has actually raised the very same point to say the presidential task team has to wind up its work. We now have to get a report prepared about what the presidential task team has been able to do and what it has not been able to do. The solutions that it has generated must be tabled, because indeed, it is not a task team that was to be there perennial. The presidential task team's work streams, when they shall have delivered on what they were asked to do, they will provide the modalities that will inform how DMV is now going to be delivering the benefits to military veterans in collaboration with the provinces. If they are able to put those documents on the table, of course, the members of the work streams can go home and sleep peacefully. The people who must execute will have blueprints to follow about informing them about how government is going to improve the servicing of military veterans. I thought I should, consume the committee's time the way I've done, and I'm very grateful that you have entertained my plea, Chair and honorable members. But that is from the ministry what we want to submit. Thank you very much. Chair, your mic, I think it's muted.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Colleagues, there's a document I want to share with you. It's the research document that was produced some time back. I've forgotten how we share, but that research document was prepared for, how do you share, Brian?
Chair, you go down at the bottom of the screen there is an arrow pointing up to the share button.
Share button, right? Share for participants, all participants.
That's correct, Chair.
Okay. Can share. Okay. And then you go away, and then you press the document you want to share.
That's correct, Chair.
Okay. Can you see it now? It's not coming up.
When was the document sent, Chair? I can quickly look for it.
Look for it from your side. Okay. So that
for which meeting?
I'll tell you. It was for the meeting of the 1st. It's the document that was prepared by the research team. Then I'll just give you the date now. Okay, it's the first. It was for the 1st of. It was the meeting was for the. The document is dated 30th August 2021. Oh, okay. It's you sent it to us on the on August 30th. It was Monday. It was sent by Mr. Van Rensberg to us. Willem, are you in the meeting?
Good morning, Chair, members. Yes, I'm in a meeting. Actually, quickly searched and I did find the briefing, so I can share it if you want.
30 August, eh? Can you just share that document? Yes.
30
please.
August 2021, Chair.
All right, yes.
Yes, the document's called Background Information on the DMV Presidential Task Team.
Yes.
Okay, I will share that quickly.
Maybe not that one, Willem. Just sent the latest one. It's dated 29. You sent it on the 29th, on 29th May 2022.
29 May 2022. Let me just see.
Yeah.
May.
Can you see it? It was on a Sunday, 29 May 2022.
Does it refer to the DMV audit action plans, Chair?
Yes, it has got that, yes.
Is the title Department of Military Veterans Audit Action Plan and Internal Audit Capacity? Is it that one?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, Chair, I'll share it. Is it visible on your side?
And you go to page 6, yes, of the document.
Page 6, yes.
It's not visible as yet. Okay. All right. So this was the, just scroll down. This was a report at the time. Just scroll down. Okay. This was the, sorry, this was the matters arising from the previous meeting. Issues raised in the previous meeting, that was on the 1st of June 20. Okay, that was the previous meeting. A conclusion of MOU between DMV, provincial governments, and other state entities. And outstanding matters by September 2021. You can see it, provincial government and Limpopo to conclude the MOU. I thought today we received the progress in relation to that. Education support, database. Sorry, just go down. Restructuring of the DMV, provision of health to the dependents of military veterans. This is what was said at the time. I'm not going to read it. Just go down. The issue of pension. Of course, we'll get the report today. Amendment to the Military Veterans Act. Let me tell you what was said there. September 2021, incorporating public inputs and finalized bill for approval. 31 October 2021, approval of the bill to be gazetted for public participation December 2021, and bill and supporting documents to be submitted to Cabinet. And on heritage, ongoing engagements are held with the Department of Arts and Culture, and the draft MOU is in place. We're reporting on that. So this was the document, and we met again on the 1st of June 2022. Brian, do you have the minutes?
Yes, Chair.
Can you just flash the minutes of 1st of June 2022? Okay, you just go down. This was the report on the presidential task team. On pension, engagement with the pension agency is ongoing. You'll report on that. Database, the verification of the database is ongoing within provinces. And then heritage and memorial, the work on policies has been finalized and is ready to engage with the various countries regarding the repatriation. You are reporting on that. And organizational design, the DMV has been experiencing challenges with the work with other stakeholder departments. work is underway to appoint a professional external organizational design service provider. And on socio-economic support, the threshold have been revised based on the benchmark exercise undertaken, and the ministry is due to make pronouncement on the new threshold. The Military Veterans Amendment Act should cater for the provision of healthcare for the beneficiaries of the military veterans. And on skills development and empowerment, the DMV partnered with CETA, etc. On housing, and you reported that. And then on progress with regards to, just go down, with regards to the Military Veterans Act and military benefits to the regulations. The DG briefed the committee on the progress. Bullet 1, the DMV has been challenged by a lack of capacity in the department's legal division and has requested the assistance of the Department of Justice, which seconded 2 officials to assist in this regard. And the engagements with Bullet 2, the engagements with stakeholders are ongoing. Bullet 3, among the contentious issues, amongst the contentious areas are discussions on the criteria to qualify as a military veteran, issues related to beneficiaries of military veterans and the various other benefits. The last bullet, the proposed amendments will be shared with the military veterans community to solicit their inputs, after which draft amendment will be tabled with cabinet, after which it will be submitted to Parliament. I'm saying this was what was reported previously. I'm looking at what we are reporting today. Yes, there's some progress, but in the majority of areas, there's no progress. So I thought I should just flag this and say we regret that we don't appear to be making any progress in this regard. So, and I don't know if you have any comment, DG, on this before we move to the next item. We're not going to flog the issue.
Thank you, Chairperson, for the opportunity. I think I'm considering that, yes, indeed, in some areas, there's been no movement at all. If you look at the area around the bill and capacitating the unit with the necessary legal expertise, we still have not moved much in terms of ensuring that those legal people have been appointed and they are in the positions. Because at the moment I cannot talk about that. They are still en route. I think I should have been reporting to say that they're in the positions. I concur, Chairperson, but I hope in the next meeting we would have concluded some of the areas that have been highlighted. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, that's fine. We note what you are saying. We also note what the Deputy Minister has said, and but both comments don't make us too happy and excited that the department is making progress in these areas. We're extremely concerned. The matter has been with us for the longest of time, but still we are not anywhere nearer to finalizing them. When the presidential task team was appointed 2 years back with Minister Kumbuzo Nchabeni, Minister Ngagula, and the Deputy Minister, chaired by the Deputy President. And we had hoped that by now we would be talking a different story, but the story is still the same. And what has changed is the period in which it's being narrated. All right, so we want to leave it at that for now.
Chair.
Yes, Mr. Mutle.
Chair, my apology, man. On your last input, Chair, I think going forward, it will be important that we invite, not that we disregard the role that the DG, DM, and other members of this task team are doing. But for full accountability and ensure that there's an oversight committee, we put pressure and demand accountability. I think to some extent we need to invite all of them, including the chair, who is the deputy president, to come and account and take us into confidence, because we are not sure whether what has been reported to us is the same report we'll receive from the deputy president, and what are the challenges that he is encountering at his level as the chair of this task team, because the buck has to stop with him at the end, and these failures reflect badly on him as the chair. I propose, Chair. Thanks.
I don't know, but let's get the guidance from the DM whether I've never heard of the president or the deputy president appearing before any of the committees of Parliament. I think it will be the first time that happens if we resolve that one. And two, I am not too sure if the appointment arrangement makes him accountable to us or to the accounting officer. The accounting officer being the president, and thirdly, whether the arrangement doesn't provide the accountability to the committee, to the minister responsible. DM, would you advise on this one?
Chair, no, I think, Chair, you have provided what I consider to be an appropriate answer to the proposal made by Honorable Mutle. I think what you have just said, it's appropriate. Thank you.
Yes, we will have that limitation, Mr. Mutle, in that there's no direct line between Parliament and that office, in the sense of committees, except in matters provided for in the rules. Do you still want to make a comment?
No, Chair.
Okay. All right. So it means that we still where we're stuck with the accountability in the manner that it's actually happening. All right. So we want to leave it at that for now, and then quickly move to the next item on pension. On NSFAS.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Ms. Pumela Pozmeza Nzuza is in the meeting. Pomeza? Pomeza?
Good morning, members, and good morning, DG and colleagues. I will quickly share the screen. Why is it not showing? Can everybody see the screen?
Not yet. Can we ask maybe Dokoso to
Somebody.
fight it?
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
Tokoso, can you help us quickly?
Dozo can do it if he has the hosting right. Do they have the hosting right, Brian?
Granted, Chair, everybody the rights to share.
Okay.
Ms. Kwala, are you in the meeting? Mesa, we've got the presentation on the screen. Are you able to?
Oh, that's fine then.
All right.
Good morning once more. The aim of this presentation is just to give an update on the education support challenges faced by DMV supported students within public institutions. All our public students who are in all public institutions across the country are paid through NSFAS. The department, when it started funding students, had an agreement with NSFAS so that we transfer funds to NSFAS, and then NSFAS could then pay on behalf of the department. This has been happening since 2013, with the latest SLA being, it was reviewed and then signed in 2020, and it will expire in 2025. Currently, the aim is for NSFAS to manage and disperse funds on behalf of the DMV of all the approved students. What the modus operandi is, the DMV would receive applications, adjudicate them, and then send the list of all approved students in all the public institutions sent through to NSFAS. This happens almost every month. Whenever we receive documentation, we just update and send it through to NSFAS. And then the institutions will then send bills of these students within each institutions back to NSFAS, and then NSFAS will disperse funds on behalf of the department. We have been battling with monitoring of the students' payment in public institutions for a few years. This is mostly because of administration deficiencies within the agency, which is NSFAS. This has resulted to many of our students who are funded not to receive, like during their graduation, receiving a letter that says they are owing instead of a qualifications. And the department then, initially we had somebody who was working within NSFAS, but after COVID, that person's contract was then terminated. Since 2021-2022 academic year, we've been following up on a multi-year debt with institutions. This was dating back to 2017, 2018, 19, 20, which we've been resolving with NSFAS as well as with institutions. In instances would sit as a tripartite with the institution that is affected, NSFAS and DMV, so that we resolve these issues. It has been a long road, but we are trying to settle as much as possible, and we're getting feedback of some of the students that we've already settled the debt, that they've already received their qualifications. This historic debt is dating back 2018-19 financial year to 2020-2021. During the if I could just give a brief, during the 2019 academic year, the department issued a letter and a list of pre-approved students to NSFAS as well as to institutions to temporarily register students whilst the department is finalizing its administration, which I think resulted in a lot of 2019-18 having a backlog. And after the issue of the letter, the department finalized its administration and then later issued an updated approved list, which omitted a number of students that were in the initial list. And hence we had some of the historic debt in some of the institutions. In this slide, this is a report of everything that the department has done, mostly with these institutions. In 2018, we had students in University of Fort Hare that were not paid for. There were 3 which we've recently paid in 2022. But I've just found another update, which was an inquiry, I think it was on a Monday, that there's 2 more, the same students that we've paid for now, the 2017 is outstanding. So it means out of the 3 that we've paid, we still have to repay a 2017 debt of 2 students. In Central University of Technology in Free State, we had 2 students that we paid in 2021. In the Valley University of Technology, we had 1 student that we've recently paid in 2022. Sorry. In financial academic year 2019, we had 10 students at the University of Pretoria, and the debt was paid in 2022. At the University of Northwest, we had 2 students, and the debt was paid in 2022. Tshwane South College, which is a TVET, we had 1 student, and it was paid in 2022. Tshwane University of Technology, we had 12 students, and the debt was paid in 2022. We're finalizing documentation for the 6 more, because there's some documents that we're still expecting the students to submit in order for us to finalize the process and then send it to NSFAS for settlement. At the University of Johannesburg, we've got 10, and we've paid that also within 2022. The Free State University, we had 1, and we paid in 2021. This is 2020 historic debt. We had 7 Rhodes University students, and the debt was paid in 2022. Cape Peninsula University of Technology, we had 1 student, and the debt was paid in this year. University of Limpopo, we had 1 student, and the debt was settled. Tshwane University of Technology, for 2020, we had 1 student, and the debt was settled. With the 2021, which is last year's tuition fees, as well as this current year's tuition fees, we've been settling them. When we opened in this financial year the books, we had about 26 million sitting at NSFAS for both 2021 and all those other years. Currently, as of the 31st of October, we just have below 1 million, meaning we managed to settle whatever, though the funds won't carry us through, I think, for to close off the current debt that we have for students, because with the 2022 tuition fees, we've already paid 70% of all the tuition fees that our students, our pre-funded students, are actually owing, and we still finalizing some of continuing students who have submitted their finalization documents late. That is all. Thank you.
You carry on with the presentation. Is it on The second presentation, I think, is on pensions.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mr. Siango, can you kindly come on board? Have you connected? Mr. Siango? Tokoso, can you put the presentation up for us?
Yes, DG, I'm present.
DG, can you do this? Can you indicate who else is going to make a presentation so that they ready themselves one after the other? After Siango, who's going to do the presentation? Who's that? After Mr. Siango, who's going to do the presentation?
It's Mr. Matsafu, Chairperson, on the posthumously registered military veterans. Mr. Matsafu is...
After Mr. Matsafu?
It will
Mr.
still
Matsafu, be... Mr. Matsafu, are you in the meeting?
Yes, I'm here, Chairperson.
Okay, please don't go away. Just be ready for your turn. And after Mr. Matsafu?
He will continue again, Chairperson, on the status of the National Database for Military Veterans.
All right.
That will be, that will be the end.
So can we take this one and then immediately after this we'll take Mr. Matsafu's presentation?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning, Deputy Minister and the members of the Portfolio Committee. This is the update. I think some of the information we did share previously with the Portfolio Committee. Basically, Chair, I think the highlight in this slide is the fact that the military veterans pension policy was approved by the was presented and endorsed by the Presidential Task Team on the 26th of April 2022. And subsequent to that, the Minister then of Defense and Military Veterans received a letter from Treasury recommending certain things to be put in place before then the implementation of the pension benefit itself. One of those issues was the fact that we needed to ensure that for the 2022-23 financial year, the payment is budgeted within the current departmental baseline. And I think the biggest one, which I think is a cause for the delay now, to develop regulations to operationalize the implementation of the benefit.
You are too soft. Can you come closer to the mic?
Chairperson, I can hear nothing.
Yes, it's too soft. I even raised the volume thinking the problem is on this side, but it's now right up to the last digit, and I still cannot hear him clearly.
Maybe he's lost contact because I'm in connection, because I hear absolutely zero.
Mr. Siango, you seem to have moved away from the meeting. Are you still there? Sorry, Chairperson.
They disappear in action.
Mr. Siango? It seems as if, Chairperson, he might be having network challenges.
Okay, let's then move quickly to the other one.
Mr. Matsafu?
Matsafu. If he's still in
the... Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, GM, honorable members and colleagues. DG, I'm not sure if Nondogos will be able to fly that presentation from your side.
Yes, indeed, she can. But just switch off everything else because it's interfering with your network.
Okay, yes, I can see the presentation. Can you scroll down the slides, please? Okay, I think I'm audible enough. This presentation is a response to the question that was raised around the posthumous registration of military veterans on the database. And then I must say that the presentation is a very short presentation, is actually an extract from the policy on military veterans database, section 7.2.3 of that policy. The policy just does cater for the registration, for the posthumous registration in the following manner. It says, when the main member has passed away, registration can only happen for the Hello, can you scroll down, please? Okay, there's a slide before that. There's something I can't see well, but I can continue with that one. Posthumous registration of military veterans exclusively for burial support purposes is not allowed. Sub-regulation 1, 16.1 states that military veterans qualify for burial support at the expense of the state if he or she at his or her time of death was not employed and received pension from the state, or was employed and had an annual income of less than 125,000 and was listed as a military veteran on the database. I think I must emphasize on that one that says was listed as a military veteran on the military veterans database. Next slide, please. Now, in case of reburials, exhumations, and repatriations, section 16.2 of the regulations will apply, and it states the following. Despite sub-regulation 1, the department may, after consideration of evidence from either the demobilization records, the certified personnel register, or service certificates provided by military veterans relevant recognized association, provide burial support for the military veterans who was not listed in the National Military Veterans Database at the time of his or her death, provided it is proven by the documentary evidence that she or he would have qualified to be listed in the database had she or he registered before his or her death. That is the presentation, the short presentation on the posthumous registration of military veterans. Thanks, Chairperson.
Okay.
Mr. Matsafu, according to the chair, we must present the next presentation, but your network has not been good and audible. I suggested that you switch off any other connection that you have so that you can be able to be audible to the committee. You've got a next presentation to do because I haven't seen Siengo coming back. Can you continue, please?
Yes, please, if you can fly the presentation. Okay, thank you. This presentation is with regard to the status of the National Database for Military Veterans. Next slide, please.
Hello.
Okay. On the introductory part of this presentation, we are saying that there are several projects currently underway that are focused on improving database processes, data integrity, as well as database security. And those projects are the verification process of non-statutory force applicants, the integrated database management system, the data management on the DMV military veterans database, and the digitization of military veterans records. Next slide, please. Okay, with regards to the verification process of non-statutory forces, the database verification, cleansing, and enhancement work stream started its work to verify the authenticity of applicants from non-statutory forces in April 2021. The aim of the project is to verify the credentials of those who allege to be members of the Struggle Liberation Armies, MK APLA, Azanga, and claims. Verification has been completed in 3 provinces, Gauteng, Eastern Cape, and Limpopo. The project will now start in Northwest from mid-November 2022 and will be concluded in other provinces by June 2023. Next slide. With regard to the Integrated Database Management System, IDMS, the Department of Military Veterans, in partnership with the State Information Technology Agency, SITA, are busy with the development of an electronic solution that will assist with the automation of the manual processes that are currently being used to dispense benefits, as well as management of other matters relevant in rendering services to military veterans. There is sufficient progress made with regard to the development of all technical specifications needed to develop all the system requirements and capabilities of all current and future benefits that the DMV has an obligation to dispense to military veterans. The application module, which is the foundation for the entire DMS solution, is fully developed, tested, and ready to be used. All other modules, such as education, health, housing, and others, are presently being developed, and they will be ready at the end of March 2023. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, this one is with regard to data management. Another project that the DMV has started is the one that aims at cleansing and the data so that the quality and integrity of database is enhanced. The project started in April 2022 and it is planned to be completed by June 2023. The project is focusing on updating the profiles of military veterans, addresses, contact details, and dependents. And the major challenge in this project is that most military veterans cannot be contacted as they have changed their contact details. The DMV embarked on the joint effort with the Presidential Task Team so that during the PTV visits, those in attendance can also provide the Okay, I don't see the next slide, but that is the last slide that talks to The
Did she?
Chairperson?
Did you hear anything since the last 3 slides were presented?
Chairperson, we've been having challenges with Mr. Masafu's connection. I wasn't sure whether it's load shedding or maybe is also open to other gadgets. But then I think maybe let us take the 3 slides before this one and see whether we cannot be able to give it a try again. Tokozo, can you go back to the, yeah. Mr. Masafu, are you able to speak through clearly now? I don't think so. I think he's lost Chairperson. I think this slide, Chairperson, is about the Integrated Database Management System, which is the IDMS. The department is having ICT.
I'm back.
Are you back? Okay. No, your connection is not good, Mr. Masafu.
Matsafu is not going to assist us.
Yes.
Because his line, his connectivity is seriously stable.
Mr. Masafu, can you step down?
Okay.
Apparently your connectivity, is it perfect now?
Well, I think so, DG. I'm back. I'm not so sure if I'm audible.
No, Mr. Masafu, not at all. It's irritating the members. The connection is not good. I'll try and finish off your presentation. Can you wait for maybe the questions and then mute? Then I can be able to continue. Chairperson, the Integrated Database Management System, it is a system that the department has embarked on through, of course, the advice of the SITA, which is the State Information Technology Agency, which is tasked by government to deal with anything that has to do with ICT. And the department went through the process with SITA to ensure that it gets automated and it moves away from the manual processes that are currently being used to dispense benefits, as well as management of other matters that are relevant in rendering services to the military veterans in order to improve efficiencies. There is sufficient progress made with regard to the development of all technical specifications needed to develop all the systems required and capabilities of all current and future benefits. The DMV has an obligation to dispense to military veterans. The application module, which is the foundation of the entire IDMS, is fully developed, tested, and ready to be used. All other modules, such as education, health, housing, etc., are presently being developed, and they will be ready at the end of March 2023. The advice we got was that the first module to be loaded should be the module on the database of the military veterans. Another project that the DMV has started is the one that aims at cleansing the data so that the quality and integrity of the database is enhanced. The project started in April 2022 and is planned to be completed by June 2023. The project is focusing on updating the profiles of military veterans, addresses, contact details, dependents, and the major challenge is that most military veterans cannot be contacted as they have changed their contact details. The DMV embarked on the joint effort with the Presidential Task Team so that during the PTT visits, those in attendance can also provide their latest contact details so that their profiles get updated. Regular reminders to update the profile will also be provided beyond June 2023. Can you move to the next slide, Dogoza? Digitalization of the military veteran records. The Department of Military Veterans is about to embark on a project that will convert all physical documents into electronic documents. This is the first step towards establishing a proper record management system for the Department of Military Veterans. Next slide. Oh, that was the last slide, Chairperson.
Yeah, that was it. No, thanks. Can we go back to Mr. Siango to finish the presentation?
Yes, Chairperson, we can. Mr. Siango, are you back? Tokozo, can you kindly flag the presentation for Mr. Siango?
Yes, I'm back, DG. DG, I was just indicating that where we are now is that, Chairperson, we have developed the governance documents between ourselves and GPAA. However, we have not yet signed them off because we're just waiting for, for the finalization of the, because GPAA was asking exactly that they need to understand exactly what is it that is expected of them. So we're just waiting to finalize the regulations so that we can include everything that is going to be done in those governance documents within then the agreement that we're going to have with GPAA. But the documents have been submitted to GPAA for final scrutinization. And then also they've also been working on the payment system, including helping the department, based on the experience that they have with the special pensions, in terms of developing a pro forma application form. So that work is work that at any point in time should be finalized. And then what we have also done in terms of the regulations themselves is that we have presented these regulations to the JCPS Development Committee just to seek advice in terms of the input. And then we also consulted the regulations this week with the ministry, and the minister gave us then marching orders in terms of what we need to do going forward. Basically, through the work stream, we are going to be submitting, or such we have submitted this week the regulations to the legal unit at National Treasury. We have submitted the regulations to the state attorney. We have also submitted the regulations to the colleagues that are normally developing regulations at the Department of Social Development so that they can actually give us an input in terms of what we have on the document. So we've been given by the ministry to bring back the regulations next week so that then the ministry can handle the regulations going forward into the parliamentary processes. And then in terms of the budget, we have, this is a kind of a confirmation from National Treasury in terms of what we have allocated for the current financial year and the MTF, the outer years. That is this 36.9 million available for the current financial year, which goes up to 102 million, 109 million, and 115 million rands for the outer years. Basically, Chairperson, I think that's where we are with the implementation or readiness for implementation of the benefit. I think what we have been, doing in the work stream is really to try and fast track, the finalization of the regulations so that then the ministry can help us take the regulations forward into the parliamentary process. Because we believe that in terms of readiness of JIPA, once we get a go-ahead, JIPA has indicated that they would be able to make the payments, at any given point in time. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Okay, colleagues, the presentation has been made. Are there any comments on the presentation? I just want to talk to one presentation on posthumous registration of dependents. You see, the question that was raised was the committee asked whether military veterans will be registered posthumously in order for their benefits to be made available to their to their dependents? That was the question. For example, my dad would have qualified for, and just want to, qualifies for housing. And he is late and was never registered, but I can prove that he was a military veteran. Here are the documents. In relation to health benefits, I know now that we know now that health benefits are not available to the dependents, but there's a move to amend the legislation to make healthcare or health benefits available to dependents, assuming we succeed in making health benefits available to the dependents. Can I come to you and say, my dad was this, but was never on the database, but I can prove this? Can he be registered posthumously for purposes of us, the dependents, to receive the benefits? Let me just go to the pension. I don't know what the pension arrangement will be on the death of the beneficiary of the military veteran. Assuming, I'm just making that assumption, the benefits will extend to the spouse. Maybe 50% of pension that would have been given to the military veteran, but for the fact that it's late, now 50% goes to the spouse. Now, can the spouse comes to you and say, for purposes of this benefit, this 50%, I can prove that he was a military veteran, but for that he is not on the register, I'm not getting it. Can I register him posthumously? I think the question was around that issue. If you could just address that. I heard you saying that this is what the law is saying, this and that, but we are not very clear as to what you are saying. And then lastly, on the issue of NSFAS, and you had the budget to pay, I can't remember how many students at tertiary level, and you are not indicating this time around what the uptake on that is, whether you are 50%, 40%, 100%. Yes, you did indicate that you are actually paying up to 70%, because the 30% might not have sorted out their own documents with you. What is the number that you are paying for at tertiary in this financial year? Colleagues, over to you if there are any questions. It doesn't look like there are any questions. If you could just deal with those, and we'll move to the next item. Siango, can you unmute?
Yes, Chairperson, in terms of the pension itself, the current policy that was endorsed does not, will not be applied retrospectively. So meaning that it will only be applied at the date of the, when the signature is appended on the regulations. So meaning that all the people then that pass on prior the sign off of the regulations would not, that is the military veterans, would not be entitled to the benefit itself.
In respect of other benefits?
I think, Mr. Matsapu, can you help there?
That are available to the dependents.
Chair, in terms of education support, if the dependents of the deceased military veterans have the necessary documents, they can access education support. That is, if they have an unabridged birth certificate and everything that we need upon registration of the military veteran, then they can apply for education support.
But the military veterans can't be registered posthumously. Is that what you are saying?
The military veteran can be registered.
Purpose.
Yes, can be registered posthumously for this purpose if ever there are children that need support and they've got the necessary documents. Then Mr. Matsafu's side will then register and then register the children if ever they've got unabridged birth certificate at the time of the military veterans being deceased.
Okay. All right, so it's clear. Can we then deal with the other comments on the take-up of the bursaries?
Promesa, can you continue?
Did you? I didn't get the question of referring to education
of the bursaries.
Take up
in this financial year.
Have we advertised, and what is the latest for this year?
For this year, 2023.
Yes.
Oh, 2023, we've not yet opened. We'll be open.
No. For this current financial year, the numbers you are paying for bursary at tertiary level.
Or the numbers we're paying at tertiary level, we've sitting at 709, 403 being at public institutions, and the remainder being in private institutions.
What was the target?
The total target of education support for the year is 3,500, covering both basic education, meaning grade 1 to grade 12, as well as tertiary education. So it depends on the approval. There's no aggregation whether it will be 1,000 or 2.5 in the other at basic. So there's no disaggregation. We just receive and approve on the basis of what of the applications.
So the 700 that you are speaking of is 700 as against the target of 3,500.
Yes, that is only at tertiary education. There's about 2.8 that is at basic education, meaning that is
to 3,500 plus.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So, colleagues, I think let's leave it at that for now. Just to thank the department for their presentation. It was a roller coaster. We can help it. It's issues of a network. They are beyond our control. But you have heard that matters are coming up and have been coming up with very little progress being registered. If you could just please speed up the progress so that we are able to drop these items from our agenda. All right, that being said, let me just thank you, DM, thank you, the DG, and the rest of the team for your participation. Colleagues, we have just one item to deal with, and I think it doesn't require the team from the department. Am I correct, Brian?
That is correct, sir.
Yes. All right. We can then thank them and then move to
Chair,
the next.
I see Mr. Shelembe has his hand up.
When was it up?
Can I speak, Chairperson?
No, but I think we've closed the item, Mr. Shelembe.
Chair. I think you didn't see my hand. Not that I need much, Chairperson. Well, I'm not well. I didn't want to participate, but maybe just to help me. I didn't get it clear, but maybe in future, if this can be made clearer in the policy with regard to the question that we have asked, Chairperson. The last one that was about application of the military veterans posthumously. Chair, I'm sorry that it's about closing, but I was concerned because I heard the other speaker saying no, and the last one said, yes. This one, Chairperson, is very, very important because I was also looking beyond that to say what happened. If, say, my father is military veterans and he died whilst I'm in pregnancy, maybe before my birth, what would happen if maybe I come, let's say my mother gives birth to me, whether I'll qualify? But Chair, I think maybe it's late for now, but I think we need to discuss more on that one. It might be confusing. I'm sorry, Chair, I'm not well, but anyway, you can close, but just to raise the concern, Chairperson, I didn't get clear and I'm not happy about that one. Thank you, Chair.
No, but I think that what they were saying, Bab Shelembe, is that okay, let me start by saying that if the military veteran is registered and he passes away, there's no issue. The benefits would still flow to the dependents. But the question here was a veteran who dies before he or she is placed is registered, whether he can still be put on the database posthumously for purposes of the dependents benefiting from the available benefits. I think she indicated that yes, for education, it would be true, but for pension, because if it was not there when he passed away, so they can't be done retrospectively. And in other words, it will done from the time the pension comes into being. So in other words, if anyone dies, let's say the pension takes effect today and X dies a month later without having registered. But if the pension says the spouse takes 50%, I think that person will then be considered, the spouse will be considered, because all of that, the death happened after the benefit came into effect. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Siango, isn't it?
Yes, correct, Chairperson.
Yes, so that's the only difference between the two. The other benefits are already on the go. This one is yet to be given effect to. All right, so with that, I'd already thank you, colleagues. We can then move to the next item. DG, thank you very much.
Chairperson and honorable members, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you to the members.
Thank you. Quickly deal with the last item. Minutes. This is minute of the 2nd November 2022. Just give us the attendance register. This was the attendance at the time. Just go to the second page. Any correction, colleagues, will indicate. Page 3, page 4, page 5, page 5, page 6, page 7. Thank you. Page 7. Thanks so much. This meeting has really exhausted me. It's like I'm from a 2-day workshop. Colleagues, I'm tabling these minutes for adoption. Can I get a mover and a seconder?
I move, Chair, for the adoption.
Thabo Mutla moves. Who seconds?
I second, Honorable Chair.
Sis Alice Mtembu seconds. Colleagues, the minutes are adopted. Was this the only side, Brian? Minutes?
That is correct, sir.
Correct. Thank you very much. Colleagues, thank you very much for the meeting. I can't hold you beyond this. With that, I bid you farewell.
Yeah, take it easy, Chair. Take it easy.
I'm
Recording stopped.